There is something shifting in your life right now, and by the end of this video you will understand exactly what it is and why it is happening, because Cancer, a turning point is closer than you think, and the signs have already begun to appear. You may not have named them yet. You may have dismissed them as coincidences, or chalked them up to a strange week, or told yourself that things just feel a little different lately without knowing why. But those feelings are not random. They are not accidents. They are signals, quiet, steady, unmistakable signals, that something in your world is about to change in a way that matters deeply to you. And if you are watching this right now, there is a very good chance that you have already felt at least one of these signs, maybe more, and you are searching for confirmation that what you sense is real. It is real. The turning point you have been moving toward, sometimes consciously, sometimes without realizing it, is near. What you will discover in this video are 11 clear signs that your turning point has arrived, or is arriving very soon. Each one builds on the last. Each one is specific to who you are and how you move through the world. Pay close attention, because by the time we reach the final sign, you will see the full picture, and it will make sense in a way that surprises you. Sign 1. There is a particular kind of restlessness that visits Cancer before a turning point, and it is not the anxious, scattered kind of restlessness that comes from stress or worry. It is deeper than that, and it feels different. It sits in your chest, or somewhere behind your eyes, and it does not go away when you distract yourself. You may have noticed it in the mornings when you wake up, and for just a moment before the day begins, you feel a quiet but insistent pull towards something you cannot quite name. You might feel it in the evenings, when the house is still and you find yourself staring at nothing in particular, lost in a thought that keeps circling back without ever landing. This is not restlessness born from dissatisfaction alone. It is restlessness born from readiness. There is a part of you, a very old and very wise part, that already knows a change is coming. That part does not have words for it yet, but it is preparing. It is clearing space. It is loosening the grip on things that no longer fit. You are a deeply intuitive sign, and your intuition often speaks to you this way, through feelings rather than words, through sensations rather than clear visions. So when you feel this particular restlessness, this low, persistent hum of something shifting, do not try to silence it. Do not tell yourself you are being dramatic or overthinking. You are not. That hum is your inner knowing communicating clearly. It is telling you that the ground beneath your feet is not the same ground it was 6 months ago. Something has moved. Something has changed, quietly but completely. And the life that waits on the other side of this turning point is asking you to notice, really notice, that the movement has begun. Some people reach their turning points and look back later, wishing they had paid more attention to the signs in the days and weeks before. You do not have to be one of those people. You are here, you are listening, and you are already a step ahead. The restlessness is a gift. It is your soul's way of saying, wake up, because something worth waking up for is on its way. This is sign 1, and if it resonates, if you have felt this particular quality of restlessness recently, then the rest of what follows in this video will feel like pages from a book you have already been reading, one that is finally reaching its most important chapter. Sign 2. Old memories have been surfacing for you lately, not in an overwhelming way, not with the sharp pain of grief, but in a softer, more reflective way, as if your mind is sorting through a collection of things and deciding what to keep. You may find yourself thinking about a version of yourself from years ago, or a relationship that ended long before you expected it to, or a dream you once had that got set aside when life moved in a different direction. These memories are not haunting you. They are visiting. And the reason they are visiting is because your inner self is doing something important right now. It is doing a kind of audit, a quiet and honest review of where you have been, what you have carried, and what you no longer need to carry going forward. This is a very specific thing that happens before a turning point. The mind and the heart begin to prepare for a new chapter by revisiting the old ones. Not to relive them, not to change them, but to understand them fully, perhaps for the first time. You are a sign that holds on. You are a sign that remembers. You carry people and places and moments inside you with a tenderness that others rarely match. And that is one of your most beautiful qualities. But every now and then, even the most devoted keeper of memories must do a gentle review. Not to forget, never to forget, but to choose. To decide what you are bringing forward and what you are lovingly, gracefully releasing. If you have been dreaming more vividly at night, if faces from the past have appeared in those dreams with unusual clarity, if you have found yourself pulling out old photographs or rereading old messages not with sadness but with a kind of quiet wisdom, These are not accidents. These are signs. Your inner self is making room. And what it is making room for is the new life, the new clarity, the new version of you that is almost ready to step forward. The past is speaking to you one more time before the door closes gently on it. Not forever, but as a primary residence. You are being prepared for forward movement, and the memories that surface now are part of that preparation. Let them come. Look at them. Appreciate what they taught you. And then, with all the warmth you possess, let them settle back into the quiet places where old things rest, while you turn your face toward what is coming. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Sign 3. There have been conversations recently, maybe just one, maybe several, that have stayed with you in a way that surprised you. Someone said something or you said something and the words landed differently than they usually do. They had weight to them. They had resonance. You replayed them in your mind afterward, not because they upset you, but because something in them felt significant. Something in them touched a truth that you had not quite spoken out loud before. For Cancer, conversation is not a small thing. You are not a sign that exchanges words lightly. When you speak, you mean it. When you listen, you are fully present. And that presence means that when something meaningful is said, you feel it in your whole body, not just your ears. What is happening now, as your turning point approaches, is that the conversations you are having are beginning to carry more meaning than usual. The walls between what people say and what they truly mean are thinning. You are finding yourself in exchanges that feel real, deeply, honestly real, in a way that shallower conversations could never achieve. You may have reconnected recently with someone you had drifted from. You may have had a moment of unexpected honesty with someone close to you. You may have heard something from a stranger that felt oddly specific to your life, as though the universe put that person in your path specifically for that moment. None of this is accidental. The conversations that arrive before a turning point are not random. They are aligned. They carry pieces of the new understanding that you are building, the new framework for who you are, and what you want and what you are willing to accept. Pay attention to the words that stay with you. Pay attention to the exchanges that feel heavier than their surface suggests. Pay attention to the moments when someone speaks and something inside you goes very still, because that stillness is recognition. It is your soul saying, "This matters. This is relevant. Remember this." The conversations are part of the turning point. They are the universe's way of speaking to you in a language you can hear and hold and carry forward. Sign 4. Something in your relationship to time has changed, and you may have noticed it without fully registering what it means. Time used to feel like something that moved at its own pace regardless of what you did, sometimes too fast, sometimes dragging, but lately it feels different. It feels like something you are more conscious of, like something that has become relevant to you in a new way. You may find yourself thinking about how you spend your days differently. You may have started to question whether certain commitments deserve the hours you give them. You may have had a moment, or many moments, where you looked at your life and thought, "I want more time for what matters. I want less time on what does not." This shift in your relationship to time is not a midlife crisis, not nostalgia, not anxiety about getting older. It is something far more purposeful. It is a recalibration. Your inner self is realigning your priorities, and time is the currency through which those priorities are expressed. When a turning point is near, there is often a realization, quiet at first, then louder, that the way you have been spending your energy does not fully match what you actually value. You have been generous as you always are. You have shown up as you always do. But somewhere in all that showing up for others, you may have forgotten to fully show up for yourself and for the things that make your life feel meaningful from the inside rather than just functional from the outside. The sign here is not that you have wasted time, you have not. Every season of your life has served a purpose. The sign is that something in you is beginning to see time as precious in a new way. And that new awareness is one of the most powerful precursors to a genuine turning point. Because when you start to truly value your time, when you start to guard it with the same fierce love you give the people you care about, everything begins to change. Your choices change. Your boundaries change. Your relationship to your own life changes. And that is exactly the kind of change that defines a turning point. Sign 5. Your body has been trying to tell you something. This is one of the most overlooked signs, and yet for Cancer, it is one of the most consistent. Before a turning point, the body often speaks. You may have been sleeping more than usual or sleeping less, and the change feels meaningful rather than just physical. You may have had a shift in your appetite, craving different foods, losing interest in things you used to enjoy, or finding yourself drawn to simpler, quieter nourishment. You may have felt an unusual tiredness that is not about how many hours you slept, but about how much you have been carrying emotionally. You may have also felt moments of unexpected energy, sudden bursts of clarity or physical vitality that surprised you, as though something in you woke up for a moment and said, "Yes, this is the direction, this is right, this is alive." Cancer is a sign that is deeply connected to the body. You feel emotions physically. Grief settles in your chest. Joy rises in your throat. Uncertainty lives in your stomach. And when a turning point is approaching, the body registers it before the mind fully understands it. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. Your body is an incredibly accurate instrument, and it has been trying to communicate with you in the language it knows: sensation, energy, rest, appetite, weight. The question is whether you have been listening. If you have been feeling physically different lately, not ill, not just tired, but genuinely different in a way that does not have a simple explanation, this is the sign. Your body is tuning itself for a new frequency. It is releasing what it no longer needs to hold and creating space for what is coming. Honor that process. Rest when you need to rest. Move when something in you wants to move. Eat what feels nourishing rather than just familiar. Your body is not working against you in these moments. It is working with you in the most loyal and ancient way it knows, preparing you from the inside out for the turning point that is nearly here. Sign 6. Some people watch. Others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting. It's about moving. You have been thinking about what it means to be honest. Really honest, not just polite or agreeable or careful with other people's feelings, but genuinely, deeply honest, and this is a sign. For most of your life, honesty has been something you practice carefully. You are a sensitive soul, and you know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of careless words. So you have always chosen yours with thought. But lately something has shifted. The careful choosing has started to feel a little like something else, something closer to holding back. Closer to keeping yourself small so that others do not have to adjust. And somewhere in that recognition, a new kind of honesty has begun to emerge in you. Not cruelty, not bluntness for its own sake, but the honest acknowledgement to yourself first and then perhaps to others of what you actually feel, what you actually need, what you actually want from this season of your life. This is a profound sign that a turning point is near, because honesty of this kind requires a level of self-trust that only develops after you have been through enough. You are not questioning your worth the way you might have years ago. You are not wondering whether your feelings are valid. You are simply quietly, unmistakably aware that they are. And that acting from that awareness is not just possible but necessary. The turning point you are approaching is not just a change in circumstances. It is a change in how you hold yourself. It is the moment when the gap between who you are on the inside and how you present yourself on the outside begins to close. Not all at once, but meaningfully, noticeably. You are becoming more yourself. And there is nothing more powerful than a person who is becoming more themselves. Sign 7. Certain relationships in your life have been revealing themselves for what they truly are, and you are seeing them with new clarity. This is not cynicism. This is not bitterness. This is clarity, and it is a vital sign that your turning point is near. For a long time, you may have held certain connections in a kind of gentle, hopeful light. You have given benefit of the doubt. You have excused things that perhaps should not have been excused. You have loved people the way you wish they could love you back. And you have sometimes mistaken your own generous interpretation of them for reality. But lately something has changed. You are seeing people more clearly. Not harshly, you are not a harsh person, but accurately. You are noticing whose presence genuinely nourishes you, and whose presence leaves you feeling depleted. You are noticing who shows up consistently, and who only appears when it is convenient for them. You are noticing the difference between people who celebrate your growth and people who are more comfortable when you stay the same. This clarity is not a loss. It might feel like one at first, especially if the people you are seeing more clearly are people you love. But clarity is a gift, one of the most important gifts a turning point can bring. Because when you can see your relationships honestly, you can tend to them honestly. You can invest more deeply in the ones that are real. You can release, with love and without resentment, the ones that have run their course. And you can create space in your life for connections that match who you are becoming, rather than clinging to connections that only knew who you used to be. The relationships that survive this shift will be stronger for it. And you, with your extraordinary capacity for love, will be freer to give that love to people who can truly receive it. Sign 8. Your dreams have not been ordinary lately. You may have noticed this yourself, waking from sleep with a strong emotional residue, a lingering feeling that cannot be attributed to anything specific, a sense that something important happened in the night that you cannot quite translate into words. Dreams for Cancer are not just random processing. They are often messages from the deepest part of yourself, from the part of you that sees the larger pattern of your life clearly without the noise and distraction of the waking world. When a turning point is near, the dream life often intensifies. Themes repeat. Symbols appear more than once. You may dream of water, which is deeply connected to your sign. And in those dreams, the water may be calm or churning, reflecting back to you the state of your inner world. You may dream of houses, which often represent the self, the inner architecture of who you are and who you are becoming. You may dream of journeys, of roads, of doors, all of them pointing to movement, to transition, to the threshold that is approaching. Even if you do not remember the content of your dreams with precision, the feeling they leave behind is meaningful. If you have been waking with a sense of significance, with a quiet knowing that something in the night was important even if you cannot name it, that is enough. That feeling is a signal. Your deeper self is active. It is working. It is preparing the ground for what is coming in your waking life. Pay attention to whatever fragments of your dreams you can recall. Write them down if that feels right. Not to analyze them obsessively, but simply to honor them, to acknowledge that the inner part of you is communicating and that you are listening. Sign 9. Something in your relationship to what you want has become clearer. For a long time, your desires may have been blurred by other people's needs, by what seemed practical, by what felt like the responsible or the safe or the kind thing to want. You are so attuned to others that sometimes your own wants get quietly folded into the background, while everyone else's needs take the foreground. But lately, something has changed. Something in you has become more specific, more honest, more willing to name, at least to yourself, what you actually want from this chapter of your life. Maybe it is something simple. More peace, more connection, more time in the kinds of places that make you feel like yourself. Maybe it is something larger. A change in your work, a shift in where you live, a relationship that finally reflects how much love you have to give. Whatever it is, the very fact that you are willing to name it, that you are allowing yourself to want it clearly rather than hedging or diminishing it, is a sign. Because desire, when it is honest and clear, is not just a feeling. It is a compass. It is direction. And direction is exactly what a turning point requires. You cannot move toward a new chapter if you do not know which direction calls you. You are beginning to know. And that knowing, however quiet and tender it may feel right now, is one of the most important things that can happen to a person standing on the edge of genuine change. Sign 10. You have been receiving, whether you have named it as such or not, small moments of unexpected kindness, unexpected alignment, unexpected good timing. A situation resolved more easily than you expected. A person appeared at exactly the right moment. A door opened when you were not even looking for it. These moments may have seemed too small to take seriously on their own, but add them together and they form a pattern that tells you something is working in your favor right now. Something in the larger movement of your life is beginning to align. For Cancer, these moments of alignment are not accidents. They are resonance. When you are moving in a direction that is right for you, when your inner self and your outer life are beginning to harmonize, the world responds. Not with dramatic miracles usually, but with these quieter confirmations. The parking spot that appeared. The call that came at the exact right time. The stranger who said something that helped. These things happen more when you are in alignment than when you are off course, and the fact that you have been noticing them is itself significant. You are paying attention. You are awake to the small good things. And that wakefulness is one of the qualities that will carry you through the turning point ahead with grace, and with gratitude rather than with fear or resistance. Sign 11. You have two options after this video. Close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are. There is a new kind of peace that has been visiting you lately. Not the peace of someone who has given up, not the numbness that sometimes masquerades as calm, but a genuine grounded peace. A settling. A sense that something in you has finally stopped arguing with itself. You may have made a decision recently, even a small one, that brought you a quiet sense of rightness. You may have let go of something, an expectation, a worry, a version of how things were supposed to go, and felt lighter for it. You may have simply had a moment, standing in your kitchen or walking through a familiar place where you thought, I am okay. Something in this is going to be okay. That peace is the final sign. It is the sign that matters most. Because real turning points, the ones that change the direction of a life in a lasting way, do not always arrive with thunder. They often arrive in silence. They arrive in the moment when a person stops bracing and starts receiving. When the resistance finally softens and the future, which was always there waiting, becomes visible. You are at that place. You are in that moment. The turning point that has been building quietly, patiently through all 11 of these signs is here, not somewhere in the future, not somewhere you have to travel to, but here in this breath, in this awareness, in this choice to remain open to what is about to unfold. You are Cancer. You are the sign of home and heart and the deepest tides of human feeling. And you are standing at the edge of something beautiful. Trust what you feel. Trust what you know. And trust that the peace you are beginning to feel is not the end of something. It is the beginning.